Hey guys, welcome to the channel. We should be live now, and a little bit late for the show as Mercury retrograde already had started in quite a few days. Actually, it was on 14th of January, so 6 days ago was Mercury retrograde. But it was a just to give you an explanation that it was a conflicting with the full moon. One person can do so much, and that's why back then I chose to do the full moon in Cancer rather than Mercury retrograde. But here we are for it because it is hello Matija, good evening. I decided to do it nonetheless because it's actually as Pisces Moonbeam looked at it, it's kind of like it's just as much as important as the full moon in Cancer, if not even more important than the full moon in Cancer. And she gave me Pisces Moonbeam, by the way, for those who doesn't know. It's an astrologer and oracle card reader that works with me. She also sometimes uploads on the YouTube channel. Because, and I'm saying that because on her last video there were quite a few people that kind of thought that my channel it's taken over, which thankfully it isn't. Hello Angela, welcome to the stream. So thankfully it isn't. So she's a astrologer and oracle card reader, very skilled one and gifted, if you ask me, according to my standards at least. And so what she wrote to me as a overview, astrological overview to the Mercury retrograde, it looks to me as quite of an important transit, especially this one, because within this time frame, as just let me check on the dates once again. Mercury retrograde up until the 25th of January, especially up until that point, the times are going to be quite tense, for the lack of a better word, for a couple of reasons. The first reason is obviously Mercury goes retrograde, and conflicts, also opposition in opinions, and conversations in generally going the wrong direction is definitely going to be prominent. And it's very likely that within this particular time we may find ourselves to say things we don't mean or we don't want to say. That could be also a valid from the other side that we do talk with. But the second reason as well, it is that within this time frame, up until from 14th up until the 25th of January, we may kind of like start thinking about certain dreams, hopes, and goals that we would wish to accomplish. But at this stage, and I'm saying at this stage, we may not find a reasonable way how to get there. So the idea is right, but we don't see hope and also a way how to manifest it. And that is not just only because Mercury retrogrades right now in Aquarius, but as well, just let me find the conjunction here, or rather like the aspect. I believe it was with Pluto. I'm not going to find it right now, but there was another aspect that also predisposes that. And after 25th though, Mercury retrogrades into Capricorn, and then things are going to become much more practical than as it is in Aquarius. And at that stage, from 25th up until the 4th of August, of February, I believe, it is when it goes direct. 3rd of February, when it goes direct. Little by little, we are going to see merit into our plans and into those beliefs, hopes, dreams, goals that we thought we would never going to accomplish. One last thing it is that if we happen to say what we don't want to say, and or what we don't mean, and that results into being laid off from work, or being breaking up into our current relationship, once Mercury goes direct, it's very, very possible that reconciliation may ensue. And there is a personal message from Pisces Moonbeam, and I am quoting here, but don't let any retrograde stop you from living your life, and never fear any choice at any time. Okay, so that's her personal message in quotes. Also, if you have took a look into the thumbnail of the live stream, I also drew cards, just a general pre-drew cards, just a general reading over the transit, and later on I'm gonna step into the personalized reading for the star signs. But that is the general reading for the transit here. Okay, so we do have those 4 cards, and the first one is the World, followed by the second one, which is the Ace of Swords. Then we do have the third one, that it is the Tower. And the last card, we have the Page of Swords. You're welcome, Pisces Moonbeam. So Page of Swords, a very dangerous card when it comes to Mercury retrograde, and not just only speaks about conflicts, but also speaks about a futile conflicts, meaning that just you can't get through to people, nor people can get through to you as well. You won't be able to convince anybody into your righteousness, nor anybody would be able to convince you into their righteousness. Additionally to that, it's under the energy of the Ace of Swords, not the Ace of Swords, but the Page of Swords. It's very difficult people to fathom one another, okay? And for that reason, it's just a waste of breath trying to explain yourself, at least within this time frame up until the 3rd of February this year. And the Ace of Swords into the second position of the spread, it also adds a additional tension, because that card there kind of speaks for a couple of things. First, it speaks that everybody will believe within themselves to sometimes to disproportional extent, like way too much believing into your righteousness. And additionally to that, within this time, some information probably, or it's possible that it may emerge as a secret, is going to come to everybody's knowledge, and that information is to be understood just only from the individual, meaning that as you understand the information, nobody else would. So you're trying to explain it, it's not going to give you the results you are hoping to, at least throughout that time. On a positive note, as we do have the Tower card into the 3rd position, whatever shatters throughout this period of time, guys, definitely can be rebuilt after Mercury goes direct. So that statement of Pisces Moonbeam about a reconciliation, should you happen to break up throughout this period of time, it's very, very possible. Or regaining back your job should you happen to be fired out of emotional outburst, etc., etc. However, on a personal note and on a personal level, we can definitely use this period of time up until the 3rd of February to put our personal affairs in check and finalize them, so to speak. So overall, if I were you, and as I am myself, I would spend this period of time up until the 3rd of February dwelling into my own personal business, and I'm not gonna mess around with anybody else's business. And definitely, I personally will try to, how can I put it into words, restrict, or rather like constrain my teamwork for as much as possible, just from fear of that I may say or do something I don't really mean, or even worse, is taken the wrong way from the other side. Long time no see as well, Articure. Welcome to the live stream. Hopefully you do enjoy the show. Yeah, I took a long break, a long break. It was a month and a half. I really needed it. Haven't took a retreat for the past 5 years, so it was a necessary thing for me. I just had to recharge, you know. And Karen, welcome to the live stream. Also Moon, Star Lover as well. Hello. Okay, so that concludes the general representation of the transit, and now a few words about the live stream for everybody who is new watching. within this video, should you watch it on video or within this live stream, there is going to be 12 general readings for each star sign, starting from Aries, finishing up with Pisces. For the purpose of the transit, the readings are going to be in a spread of 4 cards, just as the one I use right now for the generalized reading. There is going to be as well 3 free readings giveaway. I am to perform 3 professional readings for you guys as a free reading in one of the breaks, in 3 breaks actually, that are to take place. The first break is going to take place after Cancer, the second break is going to take place after Scorpio, and the third break is going to be at the end of the stream. After the end of the stream though, everyone who is to support me through super chat, support the channel, what I do as well, is going to also get a reading at the end of the live stream. Regardless, are they picked up for the free reading or not. And finally, if you do wish your personal reading with me, you can always go to my website, which you are going to find in the description down below. And what I forgot to mention as well, it is that the monthly readings are now open. In these monthly readings, personalized readings, that is, you do get your outlook for career, finances, and as well love in a 9-card spread as well. Right now the monthly readings for February are open. For you to purchase such a reading, all you have to do is to use the link in the description down below for a monthly reading. All right, so enough talking about that, and let's move to the first star sign, which is going to be Aries. Let me shuffle first though. Oh guys, and let me know if my sound does something funny like the last time. I am trying to constantly pay attention to it, but sometimes it changes settings on its own, and it's beyond me. All right, so for Aries, the first one is going to be the King of Swords. Moving next, we do have the 7 of Cups, followed by the third card for Aries, which stands as the 10 of Pentacles, and the last card for Aries for this period of time is going to be a 3 of Pentacles. Those 4 cards, and Aries, they are going to clash with that what I said about the general general outlook of the transit, about the inability to see clear path through toward the goal or the wish, you know, or the development they so much want. But that doesn't mean that the transit is gonna be wasted. In fact, for what it seems about Aries, here in the next couple of weeks up until the 3rd of February, guys, you will be able to find a quite of a master peacefully, I don't know how to put it into words, solutions which are a masterpiece, because within this time frame you are highly likely to structure everything you do, from career to relationship, in such a meticulous order. It's kind of like a immaculate, so to speak, a order, and I don't know how to put it into words. It's like you're gonna make your environment and your life to work like as a well-oiled machine within the current framework though. And also you, for what it seems, are gonna put a lot of thought into your personal endeavors. And wherever you are facing problems, should you be facing problems, of course not every Aries is going to face a problems, or one or some Aries are going to face more problems than others. But whatever problems you are to face, through a careful analysis, the path through these problems and the resolution of these problems is to be revealed, which, by the way, is going to lead to a bigger personal independence in your behalf. Now, if I have to speculate on something very, very practical, those cards are speaking that should you see very difficult to repay debt, which could not be just only debt in money, All right, it could be debt in favor, or debt in, I don't know, in allegiance, or whatever debt you think you carry, because it could be a debt of guilt. You know, you may feel guilty that you are owed to somebody, whatever. But whatever you do, if you do feel an incentive of debt, that debt is to be repaid within the next couple of weeks, up until the 3rd of February. I believe there is a couple of weeks, no more than 2 weeks and a half. So you are to reach that a personal independence, and that is going to make you feel quite comfortable. Additionally to that, there is an incentive to re-establish connections, not necessarily intimate connections. Okay, it could be connections with former business partners, friends, etc., etc., which is going to, by the way, lead to a quite of fruitful cooperations. And within these re-established connections, you are to see as well support through your development. So somebody from your past, I would say that somebody from your past has something that is going to make your life so much easier, and you are to be quite happy that you are to find each other once more. And the result of that transit, guys, is just going to be that at the end you are to have those fruitful cooperation, support through your development, and people as well to lead a very, very fruitful discussion. Sweet. Highly likely as well is that these crushed dreams, hopes, and goals are to be revitalized through that support of development that you are going to get. So not a bad transit for you at all. Let's check now on Taurus, though, to see if their transit is going to be any good. Hello, Marilyn. I was in retreat. All right, so for Taurus, we do have the Prince, or rather like the Knight of Cups, followed by the second card of the Two of Cups. Moving next, that is going to be Temperance. And the final one, we do have Justice. Hello, Katie. That's a tough one. I don't understand why things should be always so difficult, especially when it comes to personal interactions and personal relationships, especially intimate and love relationships. Because for you, Taurus, with these cards, the question isn't going to be about is love there, because for what it seems with those couple of cards is going to be, and that's the problem for what it seems. Just that's the problem for numerous reasons. Now, off the top of my head, I can tell you that love you experience, for example, toward your wife or a husband, or toward your child, maybe to your family, is depriving you of doing something not fruitful, beneficial for yourself, for one way or another. Just on the top of my head, on an example, you may be offered a really, really good job, something you, I don't know, you dreamt of for a very, very long time, but you have to abandon your either fiance, or, you know, your girlfriend or your boyfriend, to go there and work because it's in a different state. So while it's great that you do love each other, that love kind of like happens to be an obstacle for you. On a different scale, throughout these couple of weeks, 2 weeks and a half that are coming, you may kind of see difficulties into expressing emotionally. And not that you can't express emotionally, but that you are wrongly understood, so to speak. Or it's just the other side does not respond, does not reciprocate in the same way. It does reciprocate, but not in the same way. I don't know, it's quite difficult to describe it here. And that's why throughout the next couple of weeks, not exactly patience, but opting for new common grounds. It's very important, and it is virtue, because definitely common ground and our solution that is going to serve all the participants is going to be there, but it will require some effort to be reached as a conclusion and as a problem resolution. That's why it needs the whole process needs to have an extensive conversations. But above everything else, the virtues there are solidarity, compassion, and mutual respect. That is very, very important. If you don't have mutual respect for one another, it is just one is always going to think themselves better than the other, and one is always going to see themselves a lesser than the other. So Taurus, it's very important at this given moment to identify the people you love and that you think you cannot live without. And should there be any grievances, misunderstandings, or problems in between each other, you have to opt to kind of like set them aside. You have to opt to fix those problems and to kind of like resolve these grievances as well. On another scale, in the next couple of weeks and a half, should you happen to be single or even jobless, okay, it's highly likely that you are to find what you seek, but to see that it is a bit more frantic and a bit more dynamic that you had expected. And at the end, is gonna call for you, Taurus, to keep up with the routine. I don't know even that how to explain it, so try to explain it that way. Any job, any relationship, even friendship carries on certain responsibilities that needs to be met, and you are to be expected to meet those responsibilities with no exception and with no, what is the word, excuse. Okay, so with no excuse, you either live up to it and you stay within this interaction, within this job, or within this relationship, or you can't meet the responsibilities and you have to simply go. So that was for Taurus. Now moving next, we do have Cancer. Hello, the divine Miss Jones. All right, so for Cancer, the first one, that is going to be the Three of Swords. Moving next, we do Gemini. I'm sorry, that's not Cancer, that's a Gemini. For Gemini, we do have the Three of Swords with the Eight of Pentacles, followed by the Knights of Pentacles. And the final one for Gemini, that is going to be the Six of Pentacles. Okay, so we do have a good finisher after all. We do have a good finisher. Right, so Gemini, you are to experience probably the most the unpleasant side of the transit, not just only conflicts, but as well mental cruelty. I mean, you can become victim of insults, okay? Not just only by words, but also by behavior. Now imagine that you do have a some kind of a dispute that carries on in court, right? And the decision of the court doesn't matter if it is right or wrong, it insults you straight away. So you, in any form, you may become a victim of insults, as well mental cruelty, like I said. And it's not necessarily that you are gonna do a bad job or you're not gonna make significant progress into your deeds, but to you is gonna feel like that. To you is gonna feel like you, just as you do make one step forward in a progression, you have to backtrack 2 steps. And that may happen to be quite discouraging by the look of the cards. Now, a big reason for that, a big source for that, it is that you are way too dwelled for the lack of better words, into the details. You just there are times that you can do it as perfect as you can, all right? That is as much as you can do it perfectly, and you just have to move on, even if you know that perfect state does not meet your standards. So those cards here are advising you not to stick to one thing or one aspect, kind of like one detail of your enterprises for a very, very long time. You do what you can and just move on to the next details. Another thing about these cards as well, Gemini, it is that within these 2 weeks and a half, it's not kind of ideal for you to initiate and launch things like new projects, like new jobs as well. Eight of Pentacles into the second position, it kind of speaks that you may feel ready, but there are still kind of some details that need a little bit either time, or it kind of need a little bit of a, how can I put it into words, circumstances that needs to happen. So the initiation of that plan, either relationship or a project, can happen as perfect as a possible. Now I'm gonna draw one more card for the Knight of Pentacles. I do really want to be able to tell you a little bit more about this individual, because for you, Gemini, we do have a person that is going to play a significant role for you within this transit. Knights of Pentacles with the Five of Wands here. Okay, so that's a person who does not do a great job into keeping up with too many things at a time. They're not a juggler by any means. What they rely on, it's a solid and strict routine, solid and strict plan, and they just prefer things to be as simple as a possible. People who definitely know what they want. Now, the reason why they come about into your transit here is so they, I don't know how to put it into words. They are like a pinnacle of order in the sea, or rather like an island of order in the sea of chaos. You can always find comfort and consistency with them. They despise having to deal with random circumstances. They despise surprises as well, sudden turnarounds, and so on and so forth. It's not like they cannot cope with that, but it's to them, it will be as best it is if they diminish those aspects, randomness, as much as they can, and should you strive to work with them, or to make a, how can I put it into words, to make a partnership, team with this individual, that's state is gonna transfer to you as well. But alas, regardless of what kind of difficulties you may face throughout this transit, Gemini, at the end, with the Six of Pentacles, things are going to normalize almost to full extent. And should there be any failures, quote unquote, okay, any failures throughout the transit, is highly likely that at the end of it, 3rd of February, 4th of February, even 5th of February, those failures to be not reconciled, but how do I put it into words? Reprimanded, probably should I put it into words here. Yeah, to be reprimanded and fixed as well. Taco, thank you so much for your 22 US dollars. Thank you so much, Taco, support. What is your inquiry? Tomorrow an attorney is coming to you, helping to get out a contract and get my money back. What do the cards show about this attorney results? All right, so let me put that into the list. And as you know, at the end of the live stream, you are going to get your reading. Just hold on a second. So, attorney results about contract of money. All right, Taco, again, thank you so much for your support. And moving on, we do have Cancer now, the real Cancer. Right, so for Cancer, we do have the Eight of Pentacles, followed by the second card of the Knights of Wands. Actually, that is the King of Wands, okay, in the traditional deck. Afterwards, we do have the Six of Wands, and the final one, that is going to be the Knight of Swords this time around. So severe conflict it is that you will have to face, Cancer. I will draw one more card for the King of Wands here. Oh my god, we do have the Sun, all right, so those couple of cards. Yeah, severe conflict is to ensue. And that conflict is going to be because of your well-being, because for what it seems throughout the next 2.5 weeks you are to make a significant progress and establish milestones. You are going to get recognition for your deeds, good deeds, that is. You are gonna get rewards for your accomplishments, and the conflict is going to ensue because a person that you either work with or that it is around you, or even it could be a competition of yours as well, their opinion and their view is going to be that they do deserve that recognition and rewards more than you do. In some cases as well, they may think that you are taking their spoils, that they did the heavy lifting, they did the hard work, and at the end you get rewarded. So it kind of feels unfair to them. You have to be on your guard for that individual because they are very ambitious, and you definitely don't want for them to make an ambition ruining you. Now, it's not guaranteed that they will be able to succeed in any way, but you do not want one more enemy, and it's a strong enemy to be against you here. So breaking up conversations with this individual is gonna help you drastically. And if I have to advise you how to proceed with these conversations, pub, bars, discos, places that you both can be entertained. Actually, for you it's not about entertaining, for that individual is about entertaining. They just need to feel in their, how can I put it into words, most comfortable environment, and that environment is most comfortable for them. Other than that, like I said, there isn't much to be said more than that. Other than that, these 2.5 weeks moving forward are going to be very progressive. They are going to be very successful for you as well. Regardless, are you planning something or you are working on something, the the breakthrough is going to be significant. And at the end of it, at the end of the transit for you, Cancer, you are to sit on a verge of making very intelligent decision about moves that require from you to be ready to jump into action whenever the opportunity arises or whenever the conditions are happening to be right. For one more practical case here is that should you happen to be single, and you hope to find person to date with, or the true, not the true love, but how can I put it into words, substantial love, it's likely for you to do so, but you have to be very, how can I put it into words, not keen, the word is not keen. Subtle, it's not subtle. Perceptive, no. Okay, so I will try to explain it that way. You need to have the awareness to discern the fake behavior from the real behavior, and from that, if you are just only a challenge, somebody to sleep with, from a person who is willing to invest in you. And for you to just meet candidates to date with, the only thing you gotta do is reach out, either through dating apps or just going out displaying yourself that you are single and you are ready to move on with love. In one of the two ways, it is just you have to make the world know that you want to be involved. All right, so that concludes Cancer, and the first break now is going to take place. Like said, in these breaks, one of you guys is gonna get a free reading. In order for you to do so, or to get a free reading, the only thing you gotta do is just input a question into the comments of the live stream, And after about 5 minutes, I'm going to pick one of your questions and I'm going to perform a professional reading on that question. Of course, anyone who supports me and what I do through Super Chat is gonna get their reading at the end of the live stream, regardless, like Taco is about to get. And if you want your personal reading, though, you can always go to my website, which you are gonna find in the description down below. Hello, News. All right, so 5 minutes, guys. You get to ask a question, should you want to, though. Yeah, Karen, it's quite vague. It's vague because Tarot cannot make decisions for you, and how Tarot works is that it connects the past with the present, and it gives an overview for the future. Tarot needs your current situation as a basis, just like astrology needs your dates of birth and time of birth as well as a basis. Because I will just give you an example here. We draw a King of Pentacles here, and that card could mean many things, okay, depending on what situation you are in. For example, if you're in ensuing question right now is should I buy a home or not? Again, I can't make decisions for you, but in that case, the King of Pentacles speaks that your investments are gonna see returns. Okay, so regardless if it is about a home or a car, making an investment is a good thing. But should you ask about stability, then the King of Pentacles, it's a card putting a very positive statement on the stability, speaking that instead of trying to seek new ventures, you will have to turn into your domain. For love means another thing, for career means another thing, for private cases, or rather like for more specific cases, it could mean 1,000 things, okay? It doesn't have a keyword. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Taco. Yeah, guys, as Angela says, hitting a like and subscribing helps tremendously to fight the YouTube algorithm. It's not like fighting the YouTube algorithm, but to allow the algorithm to push you further. Another thing about Tarot, I will address the Star Lover question. For Tarot, marriage is just a signature in the bottom of a sheet of paper, because what Tarot analyzes on or reveals is if you are to be happy and loved. It doesn't matter for the cards, are you signed up a paper or not? Because Tarot doesn't go with a religion, all right? I know that for some religions, being married is very important, okay? But Tarot does not abide by a religion. Thank you, Taco. Karen, if you are content and if you don't have any problems, it's best not to ask, because what tarot, and not just only tarot, but any fortune telling tool depicts, it's change. Okay, and if things are going well, then what do you think the change might be? That is why I refuse to read to my mom, because probably you may guess, my mom is, especially at the start when I start reading tarot professionally, she was kind of like bombarding me with questions constantly. Now, thankfully, they're alive. To my mom and dad, it turned out it had a positive spin. Okay, And so things are going great on their behalf, on their end. And I warned her, just don't ask, because you are not gonna hear good things if everything is good with you. All right, so let's pick a question. uh okay, so MT's daughter. I have applied for permanent position, a job. So what is the possible outcome for her? Let's check it out. Now that question also cannot be answered definitively, because again, you can't make decisions for other people. And she getting the job, it's about deciding, right? That specific job though, right? That specific job comes to a decision of somebody. But what Tarot can tell you, MT, it is if your daughter is going to be not just only content, but have a personal position, regardless in what company though. So let's check it out. Well, yeah, Angela, it is. Takon, not really. She isn't. We have the Six of Pentacles, followed by the Seven of Pentacles. Afterwards, we do have the Page of Cups, and the final one that is going to be the Emperor. For what it looks like is that she will. Okay, she is gonna get a permanent position, but I don't think that is not going to be the one she applied for right now, Mattia. Because for what the cards are showing is that there is going to be a delay. Even so, there could be a deflection. Okay, it's like she is to be denied for that person. How can I put it into words? For that permanent position, but few months after, she may get a proposal for another permanent position. Nonetheless, Mattia, by the end of September this year, your daughter is to find herself in a pretty established career path, which, if we were talking about a job, that is going to be a permanent job, and by the way, was going to be well paid one. Okay, a job that is going to pay for expenses, is going to pay for lifestyle, it's going to pay for everything your daughter is planning to establish in life. And it's not excluded that your daughter may start thinking about opening her own thing, like a business, and those cards then speak about a successful business establishment with a promise for lots of progress and as well accomplishments. But definitely next 7 to 8 months are months of it's not a transformation, it's more like a month where change is looming on the horizon for your daughter, and she needs she will see where that change is coming from, and therefore she needs to make the necessary readaptations so she can make the most out of the change. Hello, Janile. Welcome to the stream. All right, so that was the first free reading. Now a minute or two of break, guys, to kind of like gather up my thoughts, and afterwards we're gonna make, or I'm gonna make, the next 4 star signs, which are going to be Leo, Virgo, Libra, and finally, last but not least of the next cluster, that is to be Scorpio. I hope so. You are welcome. Danny, thank you for your 4.99, Danny. Support. Make sure you do stick around up until the end, where you are going to get your personalized reading for the transit. Thank you for your unconditional support one more time. Pamela, you missed the first four star signs: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer. All right, let's check the Lions. For Leo, we do have the King of Wands, followed by the Magician. Moving next, that is to be the Page of Swords. Page of Swords. And the next one, that is to be the Ten of Pentacles. Quite of a irritating transit for Leo, or for Leo. By the way, guys, how do you call it? Just say one or two. One for Leo, two for Leo, or three for neither. How do you pronounce it? Like a lion, lion. No, it's not Leo. Yeah, me too, Danny. I'm glad to have you back as well. So, like I said, it's going to be irritating. Leo. All right. We have Leo. All right, so Leo. All right. All right, so we have Leo. Uh the aspect that is going to hit you the most from the transit, for the look of it, it is that inability to consider the siege, not the seizure, but seizing up your goals. Now in the next 2.5 weeks, Leo, you are gonna have great ambitions. It's just within your head, kind of like master plans, and as well, how can I put it into words? Very professional uh, enterprises are going to start forming up. But because we do have the Magician into the second position of the transit or of the spread, it means that either you are not going to have the means, or you are not going to be decisive with your either actions, or with in generally with your negotiations. Now, one of these things, and that may put your progress into halt, progress either into your romantic life, or progress into your business life as well. And that's will gonna make you feel quite irritated, because your feeling from within is going to be that you have to do something. Okay, you need to act decisively, you need to make progress in the next 2.5 weeks. Lucky, not lucky, but into your advantage here, we do have the Page of Swords. I'm gonna draw one more card, and the Page of Swords, the additional card to the Page of Swords, it is the Knight of Cups. So that's a person that is gonna play a major role for you, comes on the plus side of the spectrum. And with this person, what they are going to do is to try to present you the situation from a different angle, from an angle that you couldn't see at that point, an angle that nothing is actually lost, and there is always a time for a second, even third try, if you will, and that regardless if you are facing a wall, or you are right now in a incapacitated situation, okay, one should never let go of one's dreams, because at some point in the future you may have the circumstances just right, the means just right, the connections just right to establish those dreams and those hopes. So that is why the transit is going to be irritating for you, Leo. It is because you would want to do something, but you won't be able to do something. Those of you, Leo, who are single, you gotta be extremely cautious and extremely careful whom you are associating yourself with, because you may end up being a victim of the circumstances. What I mean is, straight away you may be lied. Okay, what I mean is that person you fall for are to present themselves as somebody who they aren't, or there are going to be people who are to present themselves as someone or as somebody who they aren't. So make your extensive research to the situation. But alas, the transit for you kind of like ends up in a positive spin, because despite that throughout the next 2.5 weeks you are to feel kind of like pressure. Maybe for some of you is going to be an immense pressure, having and needing to do something, unable to do it. At the end, things are setting themselves up for a rather quite comfortable environment, and also the communications and the relationships, they are smoothening themselves up. And as well, there are going to be an incentive at the end of the transit for some investments from your behalf, either investments of money or investments as well of skill, maybe time also, why not emotions, which investments are to see a return as well. At the end of the transit, it's highly likely as well that there is going to be an incentive of a reconciliation or mending of a friendship, which you are to decide, do you want to take it or not. MT, thank you so much for your $9.99 support. Make sure you do stick around up until the end of the live stream, where I am to perform you a personalized reading over the transit. All right, so that was for Leo. Now moving next, we do have Virgo. All right, for Virgo, the first one is going to be the Four of Pentacles, followed by the second of the Ten of Pentacles. Moving next, we do have the Tower card. And the final one for Virgo, that is going to be the King of Pentacles. Those four cards, extremely beneficial transit for Virgo here. There isn't much to be said, honestly. Those cards are just only speaking how Virgo are going to ensure the certainty of their things. For example, ensure a permanent contract at work, ensure a long-term client for their business, ensure the longevity of their relationship, ensure the stability of their home. Just Virgo are to make the necessary steps to secure a certain future for themselves, which future is gonna happen to be quite within the frame of their comfort zone. So Virgo, at the end of this transit, they are gonna end up being probably in the most comfortable place for a very, very long time moving forward. And honestly, I can't see much of a problems, rather than that some remnants from their past may return, which Virgo is not obliged at all to reciprocate. Okay, And then the remnants of the past is like people coming about, trying to remind you how you owe them, or trying to make you feel, how can I put it into words, feel obliged to accept them in your life, or that they took a major role back in the days, but now they don't have that standing anymore. It could come in many, many different ways. But if you don't feel that you don't have a space for them, you definitely are not obliged to play along, so to speak. Other than that, the transit is great, and also you will have the time, the resources, and as well the ability to, not to rebuild, but how do I put it into works, to reform a field in your life. If you feel that your love life needs reformation, you can reform your love life. If you feel that your career needs a reformation, you can reform your career, and you can make those reforms based on your own image. Okay. And at the end of these 2.5 weeks, your domain is going to be, like I said, very, very comfortable. And I do believe that most of you guys are going to feel that you don't need anything more. You don't need anything else, at least for the time being. So at the end of these 2.5 weeks, you're just going to find yourself enjoying your accomplishments. That was for Virgo. And next one is going to be Libra. All right, so for Libra, the first one is Eight of Cups, followed by the Three of Swords. Moving next, we have the Queen of Cups. And the final one for you, Libra, that is going to be the Lovers. The additional card to the Queen of Cups is the Two of Cups. So without a doubt, you are to see how much a person you know means to you. That person is definitely an individual that you do have a lot to do with. It's not somebody insignificant, okay? It's not somebody you just met. That is a person you have a history with. It's a person who knows you very well. And not just only they know you very well, but also they feel for you. And I mean genuinely feel for you. That individual understands the plights that you are going through, and oh boy, are you not going through plights into that transit. We have the Eight of Cups as the prime card with the Three of Swords into the second position, which speaks to, unfortunately, guys, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, it's a colossal disappointment. Okay, it's a disappointment that for some of you may deliver truly a crushing blow to your enthusiasm, and as well to your hopes that things are gonna work out at the end of the day. And the transit, it's all about you seeing pass through it, if I may say it that way. It is like the whole transit here, it's you accepting the situation and just moving on from it, to a point where at the end of the transit, you will have to make your choice and your decision, what you are going to do about the inconvenient, for the lack of better words, or rather like the least inconvenient, the least a situation that had formed itself. And once you do make up your mind, once you do make up your choice, you are to restore your harmony. So we have a positive spin again at the end, but it falls to you to make that positive spin happen. This isn't a positive spin like some other star signs had, that it's just gifted from above, right? It is gifted from the favorable alignment of circumstances. Here you have to initiate, or rather like materialize, that positive spin by making your choice about your career, about your relationship, whatever it is. But you definitely will have to face some disappointments, okay? And they are going to be quite big disappointments that you will just have to look past through them. Now, unfortunately, those disappointments are signified by the Eight of Cups as a prime card. I would like to see Five of Cups, for example, because then you could have reversed that thing. I mean, that disappointment or a loss that you may feel you are to experience, you could have recovered from it. Like recover, I mean regained back the position. With the Eight of Cups, it is too little too late. Okay, the situation is unfavorable to say the least, and you just have to accept it and just move on. No different than if you have been laid off from work. Trying to get the job back, it's going to happen to be futile. So you will have to look toward the future that presents, by the way, with a much greater perspectives. It will happen that your boyfriend or a girlfriend broke up with you. Well, yeah, it sucks. It may be very, very disappointing, but you have to look past through it and believe that the future is to bring you much better perspectives, and it will, but you will have to make your choice about it. Okay, and once you do, then whatever problems you had experienced that are a result of this disappointment, they are going to simply no longer be there. And like I said, you are to restore harmony into your life. Hello, Virginia. Wow, from Greece. You are late, aren't you? It's 4 a.m. Are you on night shift right now? Or you're just a night owl, just like I am? Hello, Mabel. Okay, so that was for Libra, and now Scorpio. Quite eager to check it out. Why I'm not surprised. Okay, so Seven of Cups, followed by the Knights of Pentacles. Moving next, we do have the Page of Swords, and the final one, that is Tower. Okay, so one card for the Knights of Pentacles, which is the Magician. One card for the Page of Swords, which is the Nine of Wands. Wow, if that's not a surprise. Alright, let's talk about the Knights of Pentacles. That is a person who... I don't know if that's even a word that I should use, but if that was a reading I was doing myself, to myself, I would say, God, that person hates me so much. Yeah, it's an individual who genuinely despises us, and I don't know why. I mean, I'm gonna give an example with myself. If I have done wrong something to somebody, it was completely unintentional, because I don't kind of like take part into others' endeavors. It's just I'm on Scorpio. So it was a collateral, if I may say it that way. With the Knights of Pentacles with the Magician, that is somebody who just cannot accept us who we are, and they don't like what we are. It's a very milder, not liking, it's a very milder statement. You know, they despise everything we are. So what is going to be their manifestation for us? Well, not much really as a action, because for them, how can I put it into words? For them not being calm, it's like a hazard, and they can't make or do anything while they are under stress and while they are having any emotion whatsoever. So the only thing that is gonna come from them as a negative towards us, it's that hatred we will see, that we are to believe we do not deserve, because we haven't done anything intentionally. We may deserve it if it was a circumstantial, how can I put it into words, damage deliverance that we did, but it was not intentional. So for that reason, how can I put it into words, we would not believe we do deserve that thing. Now on the other hand, we do have the Page of Swords with the Nine of Wands, and if that's not a romantic incentive, and I will tell you why it is romantic incentive. Okay, so we do have the Page of Swords and the Knight of Wands. First of all, these two cards forms the elemental dignity of a active friends. Okay, so they amplify each other significantly. So Page of Swords as an individual are people who have a very original, independent, and unique as well a thought and way to see the world, and therefore they're seeing us unlike anyone other. Okay, so even if we are down in the dumps, finding ourselves at the wrong bottom, mess, whatever, okay, that person is capable to see the goodness, the potential, and the light within us, despite in how dark place we may find ourselves at that stage. And what amplifies that is the Nine of Wands, and here it is described very well, by the way, through different means from the traditional deck, but the traditional deck explains it as well very well. We do have the moon, the sun, and the bridge in between, which is that connection, which could develop into romance. Actually, it's very possible to develop into romance. So what I do suspect that it is to happen, because we do have the Seven of Cups at the start, which speaks that right now we are sitting in a limbo, and I can see that with myself. Okay, in many cases it is just I don't know what is going to happen in any aspect of my future right now, but that doesn't mean that we cannot plot for ourselves. However, for now that plot seems very distant. Okay, it's like the mother's dreams for her children. Are they gonna happen or not? That's yet to be revealed, right? Because one mother could dream that her child is gonna become a doctor, or is gonna become a professor, or is gonna become a very renowned engineer, right? But that is years upon years to come. You don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but it is possible. However, this person, the Page of Swords, first will appear as a very, very unexpected help that it is adding towards our means for accomplishment of these distant dreams and distant goals. The very least could be a person who is supporter of our idea, who I can't say admires us, but it kind of like it has affinity toward our standpoint, and that may put how can I put it into words, that may put an incentive for us to spend more and more time together, in that way to see the light, each one of us to see the light in the other, and say at one moment, you know what, we are getting along very well, although we are quite different from one another, but it seems that these differences are not an obstacles. In fact, they are making us quite special for one another, aren't they? So let's do something about it. Nonetheless, at the end, we are facing crisis at the end of this transit, and that is going to be a crisis into the readaptation. Because we will have to change things about ourselves, about things we do. We will have to change things about our love life, about our career as well. That's it's now that the matter is going to be quite pressing, and then we are going to be very, very grateful that we have that help on our side, the help of the Page of Swords. So that was for Scorpio, and now the second break is gonna take place. Like said at the start of the live stream, within these breaks, one of you guys is to get a free reading from me. So all you gotta do to get a free reading, or to how can I put it, to become eligible for a free reading, just input your question into the comments within the next 5 minutes, and after those 5 minutes end, I'm gonna pick one question from the comments and I'm going to perform a professional reading on that question. Should there be no questions given, I'm just going to move on to the next 4 star signs. But also, anyone who supports me through Super Chat and supports what I do is going to get their reading at the end of the live stream regardless. Like News Devon, thank you so much for your 449 British pounds. Thank you so much, News. Make sure you do stick around up until the end, where you will have your personalized reading for the transit. Well, it is not. It's very late or early, depending on the way you prefer to see it. In UK as well, it should be 2 a.m. there. Star Lover, you gotta be more specific than that. What is the future? What future? Career future, love future, a future about a specific incentive you do have, or specific situation. What future? Well, that's all right, Star Lover. Yeah, coffee. Always coffee. A funny thing about for my birthday, one of the gifts was a quite of an expensive whiskey, at least expensive for our standards here, Bulgarian standards. And I kind of like tried to drink of it, and I sipped about 50 grams every evening, but I couldn't finish it. And half bottle now is sitting on my fridge while waiting for me to have the incentive to drink it. I just can't drink alcohol. It's not something I looking forward to. I can, but it is not something I'm looking forward to. Wow, that's a great question, Elaine. We have a winner. It's a great question. I love that question. Uh, Also, there was a very good question from News Devon, Starlover, and Danny as well, but I can choose only one, and that immediately grabbed my attention. Elaine Logie. You have an interview, you are to interview a person tomorrow for your business. Are they going to be a good match for the job? So what the cards are going to show, it is how well that person is going to cope with the job, okay? And are they, how can I put it into words, are they suitable for the job itself? Knights of Pentacles with the King of Wands and a Five of Pentacles. So Elaine, right off the back, the person that you are to interviewing with, they are very mobilized in a sense of that there isn't almost anything that could kind of like slumber their enthusiasm and how can I put it into words? Put a strain on their work. For example, if your business is suffering financial strains and you have to delay payment for a day or two, that is not going to discourage them at all. These people, that specific individual is also very adaptable in a sense of that if one strategy doesn't work out, they are immediately going to try out something different. But that doesn't mean that they are frantic or they are, how can I put it into words, they are inventors. They are just with a very rich practical knowledge, so to speak, into the of the framework of the job, which makes them very consistent and makes them as well very telegraphed when it comes to actions. They always follow the book or by the book. They always play by the book, by the rules, and they always need to have plans, which means that they cannot be leaders. So if you are interviewing that person for a job that involves them calling the shots, if those shots are not strictly written by you, for example, and you are just inviting that person to oversee that your rules are implied and you expect them to make rules, that is not going to happen. That person that you are to interviewing, they don't have leadership qualities. They have a not obedience, I don't know what word to use. They are very good at making things happen, but they cannot decide what should be made happen. All right, or what should happen. So I hope that the job is about executor rather than a shot caller. But if you hope that that person is gonna get job done, that it is practical job, you got your guy. Uh, Paul, thank you so much uh, for your $3 support via PayPal. Thank you so much, Paul. Let me put you into the list here. And at the end of the live stream, you will get your personalized reading. Uh, just give me a second, guys. Right, News, I'm going to put your question into the requests, the super chat requests. So it can be answered when your time, when the super chat time comes. What was the other one? Danny. Oh yeah, Paul. There is a list, which you are gonna get your reading at the end of the live stream. Okay, when I'm done with. Will my business be successful after the retrograde? Hold on a second. All right. What's going on? Okay, there. Elaine, thank you so much for your 13.99 Canadian. Thank you so much, Elaine. Again, make sure you do stick around up until the end, where I'm going to perform your personalized reading on the transit. Paul, if you cannot stick up until the end, the live stream is going to be like a video on YouTube, is going to stay and remain there. So you can always watch your reading, navigating towards the end of the live stream, where the super chat readings are going to be performed. Yeah, it looks like a dealer holding aces in both hands. Now that's the dealer you have to be afraid of. Okay, a minute, guys, and we are moving to Sagittarius. That's great, Virginia. Yeah, well, definitely. My brother lives in UK, and maybe I'm gonna go and visit soon. Who knows? Uh, I will definitely go and visit when he buys a house, because right now he's planning buying a house, probably at the this summer. So yeah, maybe that's gonna be the case. And if you happen to visit Sofia, any of you, make sure that you do poke me up, because we can definitely have a coffee. Oh, thank you so much, Paul. Yeah, these days. All right, so for Sagittarius, the first one, that will be the Hermit. Just let me put the live stream vitals here, because I don't want something to go wrong. So we do have the Hermit first, followed by the second card for Sagittarius, which is the King of Wands. Way back when, 5 years ago, Taco. It was 5 years ago. After that, it is going to be the Strength card, and the last one, that is going to be the Three of Cups. One card for the Knights of Wands, for the King of Wands, Four of Pentacles. Huh. You want to visit Bulgaria? Oh, you're welcome to do so, Angela. Okay, so a good and not that good of an aspect here for you, Sagittarius. The good thing about the transit, it is that you are bound to find your thing. Now, the Hermit could represent many things, actually, literally anything, because only thing that the Hermit says when it stands on its own, Oh, I do apologize. Only thing that the Hermit says when it's done on its own, it is that there will be a significant, not the word is not even significant, important and substantial, let's say, event that is gonna take place, which is gonna stride you into a important direction, or substantial direction in your life, which could mean that you are to find substantial job, substantial love, substantial partnership, you know, you can establish substantial family, anything that can be counted as substantial. And during this period of time, you are to address these situations. In fact, any situation that you are to face with wisdom and intelligence. In fact, it does look like that you're not going to allow your emotions to dictate anything that can go wrong. Okay, so you are to be very, the word is not hard-blooded, it's more like objective, for the lack of better terms. And the Hermit's most negative side is going to show up, especially prominent in your case, Sagittarius, because what happens is that this substantial direction is gonna go against the direction a person you are associating with right now wants you to go. Just for example, it doesn't go along the plans of your boss. You find a new substantial job and your boss very displeased that you are about to leave the ship, so to speak, and it doesn't look like that they're going to allow you to leave on a good terms. Okay, even you can expect for them to try and sabotage your work. That is very, very prominent here. It's very possible for them to pull connections, to pull strings, to use means and resources to sabotage your work. It doesn't look like that they will be able to, okay, but nonetheless, that will kind of like make your experience harder than it needs to be. On the love front, for the next 2.5 weeks, very big passion. Okay, very, very big passion is ensuing there, and from that passion, it's not like that this passion guarantees that you are going to start dating somebody, or you are going to, how can I put it into words, end up in a relationship if you aren't already. But that passion is going to convince you that you are not going to settle for anything less than what is substantial for you. It's just there are going to be criteria that you cannot overlook, that you cannot look past them, so to speak, which is going to set you on a path finding a person who meets those criterias. And within these 2.5 weeks, you're going to build up the I would say it that way, the power to wait up until that person comes about, so you're not going to fall into despair. Nonetheless, by the end of these 2.5 weeks, your connections are going to get to their normal state, more or less, because at the end of the transit, you are to see that many people share your enthusiasm, many people share your view, and many people as well share your emotions. And also at the end of the transit, Sagittarius, you are to see some progress, you are to see some results of your recent actions and of your recent, how can I put it into words, of your recent approach, so to speak, either in love or either into career. So definitely throughout the next 2.5 weeks, you should not, how can I put it into words, be inactive, but instead try to develop what is substantial for you, for the results are not going to be delayed. Yeah, Angela, I do want to see tornado. That is one of my dreams, guys. It may seem stupid, it may seem childish, but that's one of my dreams. I want to see tornado, a real tornado. Hmm. Thank you, Angela. All right, so we have Capricorn, and for Capricorn, the first one is going to be Moon, the Moon card, followed by um, Justice. Afterwards, we do have the Ace of Cups. The final one that is the King of Cups. Oh my, I need a sip. Well, Capricorn, you're I don't know even. Well, there is so much to it. Okay, so I really hate when I have to interpret cards that way. So the transit for you, Capricorn, a very emotional transit. It is just left, right, and center. You are bound to feel everything that is to happen to you, to your family, to your career as well. That will be a transit where your emotions are going to be like a roller coaster, okay? Ups and downs constantly. One at the morning you may be very enthusiastic and very positively oriented toward the future. At the afternoon, these hopes, or rather like these uplifted emotions may take a turn for the worse. It's just there are going to be constant ups and downs into those emotions. That is because you are to find yourself in love. Yeah. I really hate me being that specific, but I don't know what else to make of it. Because you are going to be proposed. No kidding, you are going to be proposed. So that's literally it. And that proposal, by the way, that proposal could be, again, because it's general reading, could be anything. They could propose you the job you would love, or they could propose you the relationship you would love, whatever. But you are to be proposed, and there will be some inconveniences. They're not going to be exactly problems, but inconveniences that proposition to become true. And time needs to pass so those conveniences can take place. So you cannot, how can I put it into words, rush it. Okay. On a more practical level, although that is just as practical as it can be, next 2.5 weeks, you Sagittarius, you Capricorn, uh, can expect some concerns and issues to disappear from your environment. If you are concerned about your job, rest assured that concern is going to go away. Should you be concerned about your children, for example, that concern as well is going to go away. Should you be concerned about yourself, that concern is going to go away. Concerns are going to go away, but you are definitely bound to fall in love with somebody or with something. Which is gonna be very not substantial, but how can I, faithful. Okay, so it's gonna be very faithful love that is destined. You are to fall in love with that type of enterprise or with that type of person, and you can't escape it. And because you will know that it is destined, that is what's gonna make you so unstable when it comes to emotional how can I put it into words, expression. All right, so that was for, it could be a business proposal, yes, Paul. It could be a business proposal. It should be a business proposal. Is going to be about a business you would love, you would fall in love with. Whatever the proposal is about, you will gonna fall in love with that. Right, so that was for Capricorn. Next one we have Aquarius. Yeah, I am using the L word, which is something quite uncharacteristic for me. Something personal, guys, because I want to be as open as I can towards you. Truth be told, I don't believe in the love that it is presented to us in the books or in the movies. Is there love out there? There is. I have no doubts in it. But to me, love has its own criterias. First and most important criteria, chemistry. I mean, if you cannot lay with the person, you can't love the person intimately, that is. You can love them as a friend, you can love them as a neighbor, but that's not intimate love, okay? Second criteria, reliability. You can't rely to that person, then you cannot be with that person. Third criteria, trust. You cannot trust that person. No matter how much you love each other, eventually you are gonna end up disappointed. Bitter thing. And finally, future. What future does that relationship or a potential relationship you both are to have is gonna present you with? Those four criterias are forming love, at least to me. Do you? I mean, I think I say it in a normal way. Yeah, I am a Sagittarius moon, among other things. Pretty strange. How do you mean, Lisa? Okay, so Aquarius next. For Aquarius, we have the Six of Pentacles, followed by the Hangman. Of course it is. Of course it is. Moving next, that is going to be the Nine of Pentacles. And the final one, that is to be the Eight of Wands. All right, so because I am a rising Aquarius, at least my rising reading, it's far better than the sun reading here. Okay, so for Aquarius, really short one. Things are gonna go as planned, although there are going to be some delays. And those delays for Aquarius are going to be because Aquarius have not anticipated time frames. For example, and I'm saying we because I am also rising Aquarius, we have planned, I don't know what example to give. Oh my God, so it is just expectations, expecting certain events to take place. They're not going to take place into the expected time, but they are going to take place. Okay, so that's why I say we could expect certain delays. For example, if we had invited somebody to go out on a cup of coffee, which is something I would love to do with any of you guys, they may postpone it for a couple of days from the time that we have arranged. Okay, so it's not going to happen tomorrow, it's going to happen in a week from now, but is going to happen, so there are going to be delays. Other than that, like I said, everything seems that is gonna go as planned. We can expect into these 2.5 weeks to address a lot of or to bail out, I would say, kind of like a dire situations or a dire matters into our environment, kind of like polishing and shaping. If our life right now is a diamond, but it's a raw diamond, we are to polish it in the next 2.5 weeks. What is beautiful though for Aquarius is that there is going to be an opening opportunity or incentive in huge leap of development. Should you happen to fall in love in the next 2.5 weeks, then this is gonna be a big thing for you guys, because that is the person, at least for the time being. All right, the most, and when I say the person, the most suitable person possible around you. Okay, should you happen to find a job, that is going to be the job, the best job possible that you can stumble on at this moment. The deal, same thing, the best possible deal you capable of striking, and so on and so forth. So huge leap into development, reaching up the maximum that we are capable of at that given moment. And despite that this seemingly from outside, the transit to others is gonna look for us Aquarius, he's gonna look very how can I put it into words, action oriented. To us it's not going to be a big deal, because all these actions we have anticipated, all these actions we have planned for, or even better, it's a repetition. It's something we are really, really good at, because it's within our nature. Okay, and so to us it's not going to be how can I put it into words, a hassle. It's not going to be a hard work. The real hard work though starts at the end of the transit, where many opportunities for us opens up, and we do have the luxury to choose what direction we want to take on from there. What do we want to do for our business, or what do we want to do for our romantic life, or for our career even? We get to choose, and it's important that we do face those opportunities with clear-headed mind, because unlike the Wheel of Fortune, because the Eight of Wands is the little brother of the Wheel of Fortune, the other little brother is the Five of Wands, but these two cards, they do not protect you, or they do not protect us from failures, and therefore we can choose a path that we are completely unprepared for, we are completely, how can I put it into words, unqualified for even, and risking to lose everything we have built. So while it's going to be very, very exciting at the end of the transit that we have so many ways we can grow, we have to identify and pick up the most appropriate one. True love, Virginia. What is true love really? Now, Tarot classifies love in three ways, okay? In three ways. In three ways. You do have the true love, which is signified by the Lover's card. You do have the soulmate love, which is the High Priestess. It's signified by the High Priestess. And you do have the real love, which is signified by the Hierophant. So what is the difference? The true love, it's when you fall in love with somebody that you are not supposed to. It's just that person breaks up all of the criteria and expectations you have. You just fall in love with them. You can't explain why. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, but you are in love. You are very different from one another. No different than these kind of like dramatic TV shows where the one of the male protagonist is from a very, very rich family, right? It's from how can I put it into words? It's from a family that built business empires and so on and so forth, and falls in love with a woman that it is from the lower class of the society, probably the sanitarian on within the company that he owns, you know, or the sailor of a fast food and so on and so forth. So they're from completely different worlds. Their hobbies doesn't match, their understanding for the world doesn't match, their view of the world doesn't match, right? Their companies doesn't match, nothing matches, and yet they fall in love with one another. So that is the true love. You fall in love with somebody, you don't know why, but you are in love. And that's why it's one of the strongest, because you can't explain it, and therefore you cannot break it. Then we do have the real love, which is through the Hierophant. That is the love that founds itself on mutual reliability, and as well on mutual trust. Because if you don't love each other at the start, when you start realizing that you trust each other so much, did it? When you, no, it didn't drop off, at least not to me. So when you do realize that you can hold on to one another so much, and you have an unconditional trust together, and you can build a future together, little by little the love starts to grow. And usually people understand that when they start missing each other, right? They don't realize they love each other when they are together. They do realize that when they are apart from one another, they just missing each other. And the soulmate type of love is through the High Priestess, when your souls are bond, your destinies are bond together, and it is just, you can't do anything about it. It's just you are connected through your birth. You can't you cannot fight that. Thank you, Angela. Thank you so much. All right, so that was just the explanation for love. So yeah, there is a true, but there is also real and soulmate love. All right, finally, we do have Pisces, and the first one for Pisces is going to be the Chariot, followed by the second card of the Five of Pentacles. Now, moving next, we do have the Queen of Wands. And finally, for Pisces, that is going to be the Queen of Swords. Hello, Rob. Yeah, I am doing very well. Thank you. Thank you so much for asking. All right, so Pisces, it's going to be a rough transit for them because how do I put it into words? Not many people are recognizing that, but Pisces are going to understand or realize that a big portion of the problem or the incapability to deal with the problem comes from them, from their lifestyle. Okay, so for example, if you do not like your body, it's not because of your genetics, but because you have a lifestyle that predisposes that you do not like your body, whether it is too slim or too big, whatever. If you do not like your job, it is not because the job sucks, but the way you deal with the job, or you do accept the job. If you do not like your romantic life, it is not because of that you do not have any potential suitors, but because you do not deal with those suitors properly. Okay, so it's all about a personal lifestyle. Okay, and throughout the next 2.5 weeks, you Pisces will have to address those aspects. And according to these cards, those aspects are quite a lot. I mean, they are in all fronts, literally. Okay, so for that reason, you will have to put your personal life under scrutiny, your lifestyle under scrutiny. Luckily for you, though, you do have this the individual Queen of Wands, which is to have, oh my God, we have the Ace of Wands here, right? So that is like a mentor, that is like a person who worked with people like you for a very, very long time. It may not be a mentor. It could be, for example, a counselor, all right? So business advisor. It could be a psychiatrist, even a physician, whatever. But this individual worked with people like you for a very long time. And as soon as they see you, or like if you are to meet for the first time, okay, for example, you do schedule an appointment with a business counselor, and you start explaining your problem. As soon as you start talking, they will know what you're talking about, they will know what predicament you have, and they will know the answer to it. Okay, that person, when they see you, they very well can how can I put it into words, identify your potentials, your virtues, your afflictions, and therefore the recipe that they will give you, the lifestyle recipe, it could be your dietologist as well. As soon as you meet the dietologist and you tell them, I have to accomplish that body, okay, whether you want to put muscle or you want to lose weight, whatever it is, as soon as you start talking about your problem, and they will know what you got to do to make the problem disappear. Okay, so they will have the recipe to success. Now that recipe that this Queen of Wands is gonna present to you, at first glance it will look unaccomplishable. It's gonna be beyond your world. Like, for example, workouts that you think you could never do, you know, a regime, a diet, or a therapy, whatever. But when you start putting the efforts behind it, you will see almost immediate results. And the more results you see, the more how can I put it into words, determined you are going to become seeing it through. Okay, and at the end of this transit, you are to see yourself determined to push through the whole thing. Those of you guys who are single, I have to warn you not to rush your interactions with those cards. I have to warn you to take your time and make your research for the person you have interest into, or for the person that you are going out with, you know, or you're dating or whatever, because it seems that, like I said, there are going to be some quite big discrepancies into the lifestyles you both lead, which are going to happen to be cracks within the relationship that may happen. So that was for Pisces. And now the last free reading is gonna take place, guys. So one of you is gonna get a free reading within the next 5 minutes. And in order for you to participate and be eligible to get a free reading, all you gotta do is just input a question into the comments below within the next 5 minutes. And after that, I'm going to pick one question and I'm going to perform a professional reading on that question. And once that is over, I am moving to the super chat readings. Anyone who supports the channel and me through super chat is going to get a reading at the end of the live stream regardless. Well, Virginia, yes, but that is because people trust each other and they rely upon one another. That's why they do not give up on each other, okay? So you are talking about the real rather than the true love. There is difference. For as far as Taurus is concerned, though. Well, that's great, Angela. I am really happy that you do enjoy what I do and you find the strength to sit through it. You're welcome, Angela. You're welcome. Animals, Taco, it's yeah, but they fall in love with you because you do take care of them, okay? That's a different thing. So it's again through mutual reliability. That is a real love. Hey, Ketia, I hope I do pronounce your name correctly. Hello. I cannot help you with that, Paul. I don't have psychic abilities. Okay, all that I do is reading tarot cards, and I read tarot cards through knowledge, not through psychic abilities. Many people could argue that tarot is all about intuitive readings, and I can call out on them, but I don't want to bother. Only thing I'm gonna say it is that tarot divides into major and minor arcana. And arcana doesn't mean intuition, it doesn't mean a vision, it doesn't mean psychic, it doesn't mean that you hear voices or whatever. Arcana means knowledge, okay? Tarot is 78 ancient knowledges for how the life is, or if you will, lessons from life. And you do interpret those knowledges when you align them with the situation that you have a question about, and that way you do get the answer from. It's all that tarot does. So when I hear an intuitive reading with tarot, I'm just switching off the channel. It's because to me, then that's my personal opinion, there is no such thing. Anyone who reads intuitively with tarot, what it speaks to me is that they didn't put the efforts to learn the cards. They just saw the tarot you can read the future with, and great, I'm just gonna do it without learning it. It's no different than trying to cook gourmet without going into school to a master chefs to teach you how to mix ingredients, and which taste goes along with another taste, and so on and so forth, and you are just experimenting. Yeah, sometimes you may get a really good gourmet, but most of the time it's like, I don't know, dog food, isn't it? Of course, some people have a natural talent for it, which I'm not one of them, but it's again through that natural talent usually comes through a lot of experience from life, and when they see the picture they align that picture with their personal experience, and it is again through knowledge. It's not through intuition. That is not an intuition. Okay, we do have just only one question, and that is Star Lover 22. What does my love life looks like in the near future? Yeah, through pattern, exactly, Taco. But by all means, I do not denounce psychics, okay? Psychics does exist. In fact, one of the most powerful psychics was actually Bulgarian. Many people were going there. The woman died about 10 or 15 years ago. But many, how can I put it, famous people were going there, like Russian presidents, European presidents, probably American presidents as well. Many people were going there for her. It's not even a talent. It was a gift, probably. Even some people were saying that the gift comes from the devil rather than from God. But that woman, she spoke with something. And she was using words from the future, words that was not developed but that by that time, like spaceships, like robots as well. And that is the time that predates technology. Back then you had just only a telephone, and you and what do you call, yeah, you do have just only a telephone that was powered up by electronics. You had nothing else. And I don't know, even the telephone was powered up by electronics. The cars, purely mechanical, okay, no electronics whatsoever. And she was using words like artificial intelligence, robots, spaceships, and etc, etc. Yeah, that's her. That's her. It's the grandma Vanga. Baba means grandma on my language. So there are psychics, but definitely there aren't as much as you can see on YouTube. Okay, so there are definitely not as much. All right, Star Lover. Two of Wands with the Sun card, followed by the Chariot, and the final one for you, we do have the Tower. So it's quite of a mixed experience within the next let me tell you the time frame here. Not that long, within the next month or two. All right, so the reading is for your next month or two, not more than that. But quite of a mixed experience. There are going to be ups and downs. By the way, the incentive of the cards, it is to make it work with person you already know. If that's what you are deliberating right now, should you try to reconcile or look for something new, according to these cards, it's better to try out and reconcile, because they are very, very favorable for you rebuilding up back from scratch an old thing, an old relationship, which the old is going to be only about the character. What I mean is that it is going to be old relationship in a new image. Okay, so that is what awaits you in the next couple of months, a possibility for you to rebuild that. It may refer as well to a current relationship that is going in the wrong way, that you can influence that and set that relationship on the right track as well. All that happens within the next few weeks. So you have to be ready to jump into action whenever the action ensues. One last thing I want to say here, it is that you should not be way too giving. What I mean, it is that while it is a good thing that when you do relate with somebody, okay, that you do anything you can to make them happy, what about your happiness? Okay, so if that person, so that is how you do recognize if this is gonna work or not. If the efforts for happiness are mutual, you make the person happy, that's great, but are they making you happy in return? Okay. I don't know what you just said, Taco. I have no experience in that. Virginia, that is what you are saying. It's only true if you read for yourself or if you read for money. And when I say for money, I mean you twist and bend the rules of tarot, so you create an incentive the person to come very soon for another reading. Okay, for example, when you do sugarcoat things, because with a person who manages me, we had a very, very big argument at the start of our work, because I was going alone and I was reading the cards the way I do. And back then, when that person started working with me, they wanted to build a business, obviously, with it. And they were going by the traditional rule of building business. And one of the traditional rules is that negativity does not sell. As soon as you start talking about negative stuff, you just lose audience. Okay, people lose interest, because people don't want to hear negative stuff. So when people read tarot and they see, and the cards, for example, shows that if somebody asks you, you know, how things are going to develop in between me and my future interest, and the card shows only friends, that you cannot go beyond that, if the reader wants that person to return for more, they will tell the querent, you know, that, you know, things gradually are going to improve here and there, you do this and that, and so on and so forth. And in a couple of weeks or in a month, when that person see that things are not going as the reader said, they start thinking, am I not doing something wrong? Okay, maybe I should go for another reading just to double check if things are going to work out, if I haven't done something wrong, maybe I'm not following the pattern I should follow, and so on and so forth. Tarot, not that much as astrology. Okay, not that much as astrology. Tarot comes to learn the cards. It's not that difficult. What comes more difficult is how to connect them in a spread, and how to connect them in especially elemental dignity. But that comes with practice. Okay, if you are to learn tarot, you have to practice it. There is no other way around it, because you may know the cards very well, but still you won't be able to connect them if you have not tried it thousands upon thousands of times. All right, so that concludes the free reading, and now I'm moving towards the super chat readings. That's all right, Virginia. You don't have to, okay? For as long as you do it in a genuine way, it's great. And do you know why it's great? Because tarot answers to anyone based on their current knowledge. That's why if somebody asks you a question, you will draw a cards, but if that person asks me the same question, I will draw different cards. However, the answer is going to be more or less the same. Uh Yeah, well, Virginia, that's the thing now, depending on how specific you are with tarot. Because like I said, to one of the questions into the first free reading was, I believe that I was saying, somebody asked me, will I get married? Okay, for tarot, marriage, like I said, it is just a signature on the bottom of a sheet of paper. For what tarot is concerned about, it is, are you gonna end up happy or not? Are you gonna end up loved, or are you gonna end up with a family? And family doesn't mean that you have to be married necessarily, right? So how you are going to get there, it depends entirely on you. For that reason, tarot gives you a lot, does not depict, you know, how or it does depict how, or the best possible course of action, but you can accomplish it in a different way. It's quite difficult to explain it. But it does give you a multiple it does give you a multiple courses of actions, yes. Yeah, I hate sugarcoating, but yes, it does give multiple explanations. It kind of like not multiple explanations, but it's a variety of the same explanation, I would say. All right, Taco. Attorney results on a contract of money. We have the nine of the hermits with the Queen of Wands, like that. So I think that for the most part, that attorney is going to be quite successful. Now, these two cards are neutrals, which to me speaks that while the attorney, one of the two things is going to happen. Either the attorney is not going to like the contract, or you are not going to like the attorney's advice, what is the best thing to do here. Nonetheless, the proposal at the end should end up be successful, and eventually you are going to cash up the money. But there is not going to be something ideal out there with the whole process. It will not gonna feel like it is the best possible thing that can be done. I hope that it kind of makes sense. But ultimately, through your question, that contract should play in your favor and you should grab the money. Hello, Robin. Is it? I don't dance, Robin. I am a dreadful dancer and as well singer. Danny, will my business proposal be successful after the retrograde? We have the Ten of Swords for you, Danny, with the Knight of Swords. Yeah, people have to take their own actions, and as well, yeah, it will result in the money. Yeah, exactly, Taco. Danny, a long story short, with the answer is going to be, but not in a way you think. It may even lead to a drop of that proposal, where in the future you are to be grateful that that proposal didn't happen. With that Ten of Swords, only thing that the Ten of Swords here tells us, it is that when the time comes that proposal to take place, you will have to make a major choice there. Okay, a choice that you just gonna feel that you will have to do the right thing there. You just cannot turn a blind eye on something, or some kind of a detail, or some kind of a criteria. And so you may have a change of heart. That is what I am trying to say. Towards the end, you may have a change of heart and jump with readiness to action, you identify that it is more logical and more practical and more fair even that you do not take that proposal for one or another way. But in the long run, Danny is going to be successful. It is just it's too many things. It's very undefined. Too many things may happen here. But at the end, whatever you decide to do, you are not going to regret it, because that decision is going to be simultaneously made. How can I put it into words? In a consultation with your emotions. So you're gonna decide in favor of what you want to. Another version of interpretation, Danny, it is that that contract may bring some additional requirements that you just consider for way too much. It is just something you would not agree to, and for that you break it, and again, it's going to be considered successful. Taco, thank you so much for your 1111 US dollars. Thank you, Taco. All right, so Mattia, your transit is going to take, we have the 9 of Pentacles with the Queen of Cups, those 2 cards. Consolidation, Mattia, now I know what you do for work. And I know your personal situation because we had a reading a week ago or a week and a half ago. And I believe into the last live stream, similar thing, it is what I said, but these cards are just confirming it here. That's within the next 2.5 weeks, you are to be bound for major developments and growth. That is to pose a consolidation over your thing, over your businesses, over your relationships. Doesn't have to be romantic relationships, okay? But in the next 2.5 weeks, you are to make yourself exponentially better in business and in love as well. News, you are having a challenging time with your sister-in-law. How do you make it better? We have the 10 of Wands with the 9 of Swords, those 2 cards. There are 2 ways you make it better. And hoping that it's gonna grow better, but on its own, that is not what is gonna happen. So the first way, it is that you abide by her rules. Okay, you play her game. That's all. You do not enter into conflict. You do what she asks, and things are gonna go fine. The other way is that you do show her what it is if things are not going well for you both. So in other words, if there is a if she does something wrong, there must be consequences for her, okay? And I mean deliberate consequences from her, from you to her. So there has to be a retribution. One of the 2 ways. Either you play by her rules, or there must be a retribution for what she does. And that way she's gonna get scared. She will see that you are a force to be trifled with, and that it is better you to be her to be on your good side rather than not. And Paul, your card, that is going to be the Strength with well, Well, that's just the cherry of the cake, isn't it? I mean, the problem is bigger than that. So she needs you gotta play dirty. That is the one way. The other, it is just, you know, play by the rules, by her rules. All right, so Paul, your transit, we have the Strength with the Eight of Cups, and we have a blessing in disguise for you in the next 2.5 weeks, where one of the two things is to happen. Either you are to be proven wrong, that you have lost something in the past. What I mean is that the situation will develop in such a way that thankfully you lost it, so you have that situation. Like, for example, a very good romantic potential shows up, and thank God the previous person broke up with you, so you now have the chance to be with the current one, okay, that is presenting themselves to you. That is one way how it can develop. The other way that these cards are showing resilience to disappointment. No matter what happens, Paul, you will stick with what you believe in, and you won't let go of, which is going to produce results in the long run. Okay. Other than that, the transit very enthusiastic, and a transit of progression. You are to make steady, slow to a certain extent, but a steady progress with your endeavors. And Elaine's transit, we have the Page of Cups with the Death card. Ooh, my God. All right, Elaine, major change is looming on the horizon, okay? A change that is going to turn over literally not everything you know, but everything that's you do not need, okay? And when that change takes place, also your emotional state is going to shift in a very, very big way. So you can expect hobbies to change, habits to change, romantic interests to change, jobs to change as well. But above everything else, what is going to change, it is your overview for the future, and as well your positions, okay? Primarily, these changes are taking place into the fields and into the aspects of thine life that thou thinks they are hitting either the rock bottom, or they are in a situation where there is no moving forward. Well, there will be a moving forward by replacing that dead end situation with a new one. Okay, but a major change for you is looming on the horizon. And if you are single, highly likely that within the next 2.5 weeks, Elaine, you are to develop a very strong emotional connection, which, by the way, is going to be a mutual connection, emotional, with somebody. Should you have a family, that connection is gonna happen to be, and you have children, is gonna happen to be in between you and your children as well, which is going to only strengthen the bond and make the family even stronger. All right, guys, so that's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you so much for your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content here as well. The monthly readings now for February are open, so if you do want to know about your career, finances, and as well love throughout the month of February, you can use the link down below and for purchasing the monthly reading. And in a 9-card spread, I'm going to tell you what aspects, or rather like what energies are surrounding your life into the month of February. Should you wish to have a personalized reading with me on more specific matters, you can always go to my website, and there at the very front page you can see the full list of my services, their prices, and based on your needs and as well your budget, you can purchase whatever suits you best. All right, so that's gonna do it for tonight's streams, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we're gonna see each other next time.